Coming up on Wild Obsession.
Oh, there she comes. Quite awesome.
Malcolm represents the next generation.
Can you guys see what we got here?
It's a baby eagle.
It's about getting the kids involved.
Oh my God, there are eagles all over the place.
It's always exciting watching these great birds with the intensity that they go after dinner.
Do they fight?
There's a real competition.
They just kept coming in, just like a war scene. I wake up, the computer goes on, I open the link, and sometimes Mom and Dad are there, sometimes just the eaglet is there. We've got this absolute privilege to be watching the home nest. It's what nature is, it's how it happens. My name is Malcolm Crystal, and I'm a teacher, and I am wild about eagles.
Hey, Cindy, come look.
Malcolm, he loves eagles. We live in BC and the West Coast. We see eagles all the time. But it could be 5 minutes later and he's like, an eagle, an eagle, an eagle. Every eagle he sees, he's nuts about it.
Have fun.
I will.
Okay, see you
Bye-bye.
later.
Can you guys see what we got here?
It's a baby eagle.
There's a baby eagle. Do you know what we call a baby eagle? Yeah.
Eaglet.
An eaglet, that's right.
I love eagles. I just love to watch them fly.
This is Birdie. This nest is at a place called Harrison Mills.
You watch an eagle sitting on a tree limb. He's looking out over his territory, and it's his. He owns it.
I'm at the start of a huge, huge adventure. And
The reason I'm doing this is so that I can share what I learn with my students. It's up to me to spread and share the word about ecology and conservation with the next generation.
So what should I go learn? What should I go ask?
How long do the eaglets stay in the house?
Ooh, good question. How long?
I have
does
these
eaglet
ideas
stay
in my brain about what eagles are and what they've done, but they're just ideas.
Do you think Birdie's ready to fly yet?
No.
I am so excited about this week's adventure coming up. I get to hang out with a fellow named David Hancock, who is a premier biologist, wildlife biologist in North America, and eagles are his specialty. And he's got nests mapped out all across the area. I can't think of a better person to teach me. I'm just absolutely tickled pink to go on this adventure and learn as much as I possibly can.
Hello. How are you? How are you guys? How are you? Eh? How are you? My name is David Hancock. I'm a wildlife biologist. I've specialized in eagles. I'm kind of known for speaking on behalf of them. I got my first eagle when I was 14. Now that's 60-something years ago. So they've played a big role in my life. And as such, they've been kind of my window into a better understanding of wild wilderness and what drives it. Let's go this way. Come on. Oh, yes, yes, yes. It's not very long ago that all birds of prey were considered vermin, and vermin was simply a competitor to man. And eagles were shot, and in parts of the United States, Alaska, they paid a bounty on eagles. But it's overcoming that fear that a competitor doesn't have a place. And we have to make sure that all the competitors, whether they're bears or wolves or eagles, that we leave them a place to live. Going to McConskey School and picking up Malcolm. It's going to be a a great opportunity to introduce him to some of the eagles that he's been looking at on the live streaming video, and then take that information back to the classroom.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Malcolm represents the next generation, and that's where the future of conservation is all about. It's about getting the kids involved, getting them feeling some kind of identity to the wild so that they can make better decisions than we have made in my generation. Hello!
David,
How are you?
I'm very excited to meet you.
It's great. The best case scenario is that we instill a little more interest and excitement about the wilderness, and an indebtedness on his part to get more involved and pass on this excitement.
I've got a whole host of questions that all my friends over there help me generate.
Well, it's the eagles that are going to do the teaching, and I'm so pleased to introduce you to them, perhaps at a slightly more intense level.
I'm ready to go. I'm so excited.
The worst scenario is that he becomes apathetic. Apathy is what has allowed big business and industry to just mow over the wild and the environment.
We get to go out and look for eagles. At best, I get to have some real up-close and personal adventures with the bird.
This is a difficult and exciting challenge. Well, I hope that Malcolm is up to that challenge. Enjoy it, even though I don't. Hancock Wildlife Foundation has sponsored all these live streaming cams in eagles' nests in various different places.
Do you have all of your nests mapped?
Yes,
And so you know, and numbered, so you nest 137, and you know where that is,
Right.
and you go
yes,
to it.
137 is just around, just actually fairly close to here.
We've made our way to Delta 2. David said you have to be patient, so we're gonna sit back, and I'm hoping that I can see them in action.
Delta 2 was, many years ago, a red-tailed hawk nest. And then a pair of eagles moved in here about 12 years ago, took over the red-tailed nest, and they occupied it. And then it started to fall apart. And then I put the cameras in, and I went up there, and you can actually see a couple of 4x4s.
Well, that's what I'm looking at. I've seen the 4x4s there.
A lot of the trees around here, we've given them a little help because they don't have many options to choose trees. In this municipality, we have 58 productive nests right now. 58 active pairs. It's the most number of breeding pairs probably in any city anywhere.
David is full of eagle energy, and it's something that I want to tap into. And there's going to be no problem learning everything I can from David.
The eaglet that's in this nest, everyone is named Tux. Where is he in his growth?
It was fascinating to finally meet Malcolm. He was full of enthusiasm. He's so keenly believing in the concept of education that it's fun to work with him. He will make his first flight at 12 weeks of age, plus or minus a day. I mean, it's not very, maybe 2
Really?
days. They're all very consistent. On the 84th, 83rd, 4th, 5th day, they almost all fly.
I thought coming out with David, there would be eagles left, right, and center, and that we're gonna see eagles, and anywhere I looked that David pointed, I would find eagles, and they're not around. I don't know where they are.
Malcolm's enthusiasm might run away with him at times, and he wants to see more things more instantly than perhaps nature or any particular habitat is going to deliver.
And I'm getting a little bit impatient right now.
They'll be here. It's just a matter of waiting them out.
Elementary school teacher Malcolm Crystal has become the student in the hands of eagle expert David Hancock.
Here are the birds coming. They're both coming up.
Oh,
There she comes, right in.
There's no food.
No, she's not carrying any fish.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
We just watched one of the parents come in. I was hoping that there's going to be food in their talons to feed tucks, but not this time. You know, I want to see them more. We've only had one Passover, and it was in and out. I'm hoping that I can see them and see them in action. Skies are black. It's starting to rain, and it's not good, not good. David has got these plans for me, and I'm looking so forward to them. I'm very excited, but I'm not sure what's going to happen today. I want to be in the woods. I want to be around the eagles. I want to watch them again, but how is it going to work out today with this rain?
The weather we can't predict, of course. Malcolm is excitable, and that's good. I mean, we want that conveyed through to the kids, so we don't want to let them down. We want to get toward the Harrison and see our famous Harrison Mills nest. We'll have a good educational adventure no matter what the weather is.
The sun's coming out.
It's going to be a lovely sunny day when we get there.
Where are you taking me today?
Today we're going to what I think is the best bald eagle place in the world. We're going to the site of the Chehalis River, Harrison River, where the 10,000 eagles winter every year. This is where our Harrison Mills nest, the one that you've been looking at,
Yep.
it is on the edge of this alluvial fan.
So we're not going to see 5,000 eagles today?
No, we're not. You have to come back again, Malcolm. You got to come in October, November, and December to see
I will.
the
I
big
will.
numbers of eagles.
I'm excited to see the Harrison Mills nest because it is in a 400-year-old Douglas fir, and it's 55 meters up above compared to the Delta, which is 37 feet. So we're going from one extreme to the next.
There's something about just being in the woods.
Well, this is a lovely bit of woods.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these trees have been growing for 200, 250 years.
Being able to watch the eaglets through the Ethernet, watching them through a screen, it's surreal. There's no connection really other than what we create, by watching it.
Yeah.
But I think actually being here and making that connection with what I've been watching for the last month or so completes everything.
Malcolm, this is the Harrison Mills nest. It's 172 feet straight up to the nest, and the tree goes on another about 50 feet. We brought in a crane, and it didn't quite get us to the nest. We had to swing our way with a rope and pull us up to the nest on an arc. So it was a really high nest, and we found a place, and that's the next tricky thing, is to find a place you can hang the camera.
You do feel nostalgic visiting places that you've only seen on the internet.
This year, the new pair moved in, and unfortunately, they were late arrivals. So the adults came in late, quickly rearranged the nest. So it's soft. It's soft for the chicks to sit on, it's soft for the eggs, and it's soft for them when they're incubating. So they came in, laid their eggs, too. But they laid them 4 days apart. And 4 days apart is quite a long time because you get one chick developing, getting bigger and bigger for 4 days over the other one. The normal method is the one chick, the dominant chick, the first hatched, feeds when it begs, mother feeds it. She only feeds the begging chick. So the first chick feeds, gets fed up, lies down and doesn't care anymore. Then the second chick starts to squeal and holler until it gets fed.
The chicks have been named.
Yes.
And so the...
Bogey and Birdie.
Okay.
Bogey was the second hatched, and Bogey was the little one. But unfortunately, his sibling was a very, very domineering creature. And even when it got a great huge crop and it should have lay down and shut up and not be aggressive anymore, it still, when Bogey started to call, it would reach over and peck him on the head and say, "Be quiet."
I watched that on
I know.
the video, and it's just whack, 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 whack.
And the poor little guy simply didn't get to eat. The other one grew and grew and grew, so that by the time Bogey passed away, the other one was 6 times as big as he is. He was literally starved to death by his big brother or sister.
Birdie and Bogey have captured my heart. Birdie with his dominant pecking and basically being a bully.
You watch it, and it's quite emotional, and they have been quite upset over the whole event and just watching it unfold.
There was a time when I was watching that Mom and Dad didn't even bother to present food to
No,
them.
they don't present food unless the chick begs for it. He has to make a certain call. And Bogey was so weak in the last couple of 3 days, he never even asked for food. He was, I guess, intimidated. He knew he was going to get pecked on the head if he asked, so he knew not to ask. And so he just went downhill until finally he starved to death. And that's a hard lesson for people watching it, but it's the way nature works. I mean, the system is designed so that at least one good chick survives in the nest, and the other ones simply fade away.
Birdie's got to eat, and Bogey just wasn't up to snuff.
It was very sad.
In nature and wildlife, it's survival of the fittest. And so maybe there's a reason that Bogey isn't here.
Elementary school teacher Malcolm Crystal has come to the eagle's nest he's been following on his computer via live stream cameras. Like thousands of others, he watched as one eaglet, Birdie, survived at the expense of its sibling named Bogey.
There were questions about, well, why aren't we intervening on behalf of Bogey? Why can't we rescue him?
Well, in a sense, we are letting nature do its thing. Now, it's true, we go and sometimes erect artificial nests. We fortify a tree and let it support a big nest. Some people even put food out, but there's no lack of food here, see? It wasn't the lack of food, it was the lack of the right behavioral response from the chick. And so it's hard to interfere with that. You can't go up the tree. Well, for one thing, that's a very difficult tree to go up. And if we did go up it, we would sacrifice the nest because they would never come back. They'd come back and raise the one chick, but they wouldn't be here next year. That's just not a valid decision when
And it's
not
nature.
the habitat. It's that this bird didn't respond properly.
In nature, it's survival of the fittest. It's like placing a sure bet. And so you want to put all your resources and all your money on this sure bet and making sure that you take that eaglet to give them the opportunity to fledge. If you're going to split the resources, well, you have the chance that neither will fledge.
But we can't do anything about it. We can't intervene in any situation. So it's sad when anything dies when you witness it.
Well, I've got somebody here, Malcolm, I want you to meet. This is a very ego-conscious and spiritually oriented individual. Rocky, I want you to meet Malcolm Crystal. I want to stand back and let you two have a conversation. Rocky LaRock, Malcolm Crystal.
Very pleased to meet you.
Thank you, Rocky. I am in awe. I get to carve a little bit sometimes, so when I get to watch a master carver go, it's just brilliant.
This totem pole that I'm working on here is a piece that one of my other brothers had started last year, but sadly he passed away.
So this piece has a huge meaning for you.
Oh, for sure. Just being in this space right here, like see that little pile of rocks over there, and there's another pile of rocks over there. Well, those were burial mounds.
Really?
To be here in this space with the ancestors is very powerful.
The spirituality that Rocky shared with me was about a burial site and his carving. That whole area just gave me tingles.
What's your story about what's happening here on the, who are the figures?
There was a small little baby eagle that passed away. He didn't make it.
No, that's right.
His name was Boogie. Well, there was a lot of people that were tapped into that.
I was involved in watching that, and
Aw.
people were upset.
It tore me to pieces. And I heard of all the people who were sending emails and phoning. Well, I wanted to acknowledge that eagle spirit in our culture, in our tradition. When you take care and remember spirit, that spirit lives on and on forever and ever.
Rocky, help me.
Getting an understanding of this emotion around these two eaglets.
We live in a spirit world. There's been thousands upon thousands of people here before us, and they're here in spirit. In our culture, we are taught to go to the woods to get yourself healed. I want you to try this over here.
Okay.
In today's world, in the society that we live in, people have to get rid of what they picked up on their journey and their walk in their lives. And you have to make the time to do this because this is your medicine. I want you to come over here to the cedar tree over here. I was told by an elder that whenever you're feeling weak or drained or negative, you go up to a cedar tree, you take off your socks and your shoes, and you dig your feet into the earth, and you lean up against that cedar tree and close your eyes, and you pray. While you're praying, the elder that's inside that cedar tree is taking away all that negative, all the demons that you picked up on your walk in your life.
Wow.
Feel better?
Yeah, that's, I was moving. Thank you.
No.
That visit with Rocky, words fail me. You know, I'm actually very surprised at how moved I was. He sucked me into his spirit.
Why I took you out to meet Rocky was the very fact that I got hooked by this great ability of eagles to fly and soar. And that's the essence of their spirituality. It's how some life form here goes up somewhere else. And I wanted you to meet Rocky because he has it in his heart.
Oh, yeah, and it oozes from him. I think I learned more about spirituality in that short visit with him than I have in my whole life.
I have no idea where we're going next or what nest we're going to see. I'm excited to see what the next nest is.
Malcolm is really keen, and I want to show him still a couple more nests and some birds. So we're going to learn how the eagles adapt.
Does this site have a name?
I haven't given it a name. It's a new nest. The tree above it is so spindly, I didn't think there was enough wood in the tree to support a camera. So we haven't put a camera in it. It's just one of the 387 pairs that I have in the Fraser Valley that I try to follow. You can hear the trains in the background.
Yeah.
We're right near the Delta Port. You can actually see right over there,
Yeah.
that's the Delta II nest. And between there and here, there were 4 other nests.
Wow.
So there's a lot of eagles in this area. There's a potential future here. Pretty exciting, except that the Delta Port, it's going to take all this area, it's going to level out these trees, so they're going to remove this nest and make this into a port for containers. And this used to be a great forest here, obviously, and we've cut it all down.
If you look around here, we've got some beautiful farmland happening. And David told me that once it was nothing but trees with hundreds of thousands of trees where eagles could nest. But it's all gone now, and we're looking at a lot of power supply, electrical wires everywhere. It just leads me to question and worry about that human-eagle interaction.
Malcolm Crystal is seeing firsthand the impact human activity has had on the eagle habitat.
If you look around here, we've got some beautiful farmland happening. And David told me that once it was nothing but trees with hundreds of thousands of trees where eagles could nest. But it's all gone now, and we're looking at a lot of power supply, electrical wires everywhere. It just leads me to question and worry about that human-eagle interaction.
Whee! Oh, there she comes. Beautiful, beautiful,
Wow.
beautiful. Oh, lovely, lovely.
It's awe-inspiring. You do this every day.
I do. I'm kind of privileged, I have to say that.
Give me a lawn chair and I could just sit and watch for hours.
I carry one usually in my car for that purpose. Because there's a lack of natural trees, these birds have adapted to sitting on telephone poles, high-tension power poles, and they actually have 7 nests in these big power poles from between here and back about 4 miles.
Wow.
They're adapting.
I want to see them bring something to the nest.
Well, they do. And whether we're going to see that moment or not, we'll work at that.
So what nest number is this?
This is nest number 96. The nest has been occupied 18 or 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Whether it's the exact same pair, that's a long time. I mean, they can certainly live that long, but do they? We see many cases, we see one of the pair not return from the winter. The single biggest cause of deaths is electrocution, and the second is road kills, being hit by cars. So when they have lost a mate, we've seen them get a new mate very, very quickly, sometimes within hours to days. The point is, this nest has been basically occupied nonstop for 18 to 20 years that I've been following. There,
Oh,
there
there she
goes
goes.
the female. And she's just got a
coming in,
fish,
yeah.
yeah. It's up and up and up and up and straight into the nest. There she goes. That's marvelous. That's quite awesome. So now you've seen the
Now
bird
I've seen them bring the food.
bring the fish into the nest. Wonderful, wonderful.
We see eagles on TV, we can see them on the video cameras, but when you're no more than 25 meters away from one of these birds coming up to their nest, it's like, wow, that is awesome. It couldn't be any better.
This pair is pretty tolerant. I mean, there's a bridge right here. There's a lot of traffic going back and forth here, and they don't care about it. They built their nest here right on the roadside, and they live with people all the time.
So is urbanization for the eagle, is it a detriment?
In 1963, when I did my thesis here, there were only 3 pairs of bald eagles nesting in the entire Fraser Valley. Since then, since the mid-60s, I now have not 3 pairs, I have 387 pairs nesting in the valley that I know of. There's probably at least 500 pairs. Wow. So this is an incredible recovery of a species in the urban, suburban environment.
Although the eagles are becoming urbanized, they're being able to cope, and we have a nest up behind me here. There's bound to be eagles that are going to get hit by cars if they're trying to get something off the road or getting electrocuted in the wires.
I'm at crossroads here thinking of, I live in the city, I'm a part of the city, I'm a part of this urbanization process. But at the same time, we have to deal with all of the injuries and deaths to eagles, whether it's being hit by a car on the road, being electrocuted by power lines. I'm at a loss because I'm a part of the problem. How do we clean up that mess?
I know the concerns, but there is a place that makes a difference. Malcolm expressed a fear of how some of the eagles were being hurt by human invasion. So I want him to see that when something does happen badly to them, there's places like Owl.
Rob,
David,
good to see you again.
nice to see you too.
I have brought you a very special person, Malcolm Crystal. And Malcolm is so enthused about eagles, and I want you to show him Owl.
Hi, Rob.
Malcolm, nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me down here. It's
No problem, it's our
fantastic.
pleasure.
What does OWL stand for?
OWL stands for Orphaned Wildlife Rehabilitation. We rehabilitate and release injured and orphaned birds of prey. We have owls, hawks, falcons, vultures, eagles, the whole 9 yards. We average approximately 500 birds of prey each year.
That's a lot of birds, a lot of injured birds. Now, how are they getting injured and who's bringing the birds in?
There's a variety of injuries. We have wings, electrocutions, cars, a lot of man-made problems that we see these birds, and it's the general public and our volunteers that really support OWL and get us the birds in need of help.
And if I understand, if you care for them almost too much or give them too much contact, they can't be released. So how do you guys avoid that human-eagle interaction?
We actually here at the center are lucky to have foster parents, so we will utilize our permanent adult birds to raise our young birds. In order to prevent that, human contact is kept to a very minimum.
So the foster birds, they are birds that can't be released for...
Yes, they are some of our permanent residents that, for unfortunate reasons, couldn't be released back to the wild. So they're used for education. However, their secondary job is fostering.
Wow, that's very cool.
I'm looking forward to actually being closer so I can see their eyes and see their beak and their talons and their feathers.
And what's going to happen next?
You get to see the fun part of the job. Let's go clean an eagle's cage.
Wow, that is awesome.
This is Sansi. He's an 11-year-old bald eagle. People found him, and unfortunately, they couldn't get him back to his nest. And his options were euthanasia or education, so he's become an education bird. Wow. Just go through the side door there.
I guess this is the price we get to pay. If you have a passion, you want to just get right involved. So I may have found my calling.
He says, thank you for cleaning the cage, and if you want, you can go give him dinner.
What am I feeding him? This is salmon. The table is set.
That was absolutely amazing.
So let's go release an eagle.
Okay, let's go. Show me the way.
Follow me.
Day 4 of Malcolm Crystal's journey brings him to OWL, a rehab center for injured birds of prey, where the ultimate goal is to get them back into the wild.
Okay, so let's go release an eagle.
Okay, let's go. Show me the way.
We take all the precautions necessary for dealing with the birds. So I'm going to be going into the cage with the cameraman and one other volunteer. Malcolm is waiting in the medical room. We're going to be going into the field flights here, which is our 300-foot flight cage that we use for eagles for rehabilitation. And we're going to find the bird that's going to be released. Jaylee, you keep coming.
So Rob's going in, and he looks back, makes sure everything's okay.
Okay, you come through.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes this eagle, wings spread, right for our photographer.
Oh, heads up. It was something absolutely amazing.
We're going to shut down doors to try and keep them separated so it's easier to get them. We're getting closer. So we'll peek around the corner and see if we can see her here. Yep, nab her. As quickly as you can. Perfect. Good job. Good job. Good job. Oh, get that wing secured. Okay. All right. This is Rogerina. It's the juvenile bald eagle that we got in with a dislocated elbow. And this is her lucky day. She's going back to the wild. Now we're gonna head into the medical room where we'll get a weight on her. Just a quick exam, and from there we'll release her. All right, so this is Rogerina.
Wow. How old is she?
She's approximately going into her 2nd year. So we're just gonna get a weight on her.
While Rob was holding her, I could see into her eyes and see her beak and the energy around her.
Absolutely.
She wanted to get out right now. I could feel her urgency.
So this is a 5.9 kilo bird.
How much did she weigh when she first came in?
When she first came in, she was 3.7 kilos. So she's put on over 2 kilos since she's been here.
She's amazing. I've never, ever, ever seen anything like this so close.
Yeah, this is very rarely do you get to see them this close. And if you see them this close, it's usually an inopportune time where they're hurt.
Yeah. How stressed would she be right now?
She's stressed right now. You can tell by the chest,
breathing.
the breathing. Yep, yep. It'll probably take her a little while to calm down, but once she's out there, there's a lot less stress. She can go about being an eagle. Let's go up and watch the release. Malcolm is having a lucky day today, as well as Tyler, the gentleman who originally found this bird.
Where did you find her?
Well, I found her in the lower Fraser River. I was just cruising around in my boat, and all of a sudden, I see a couple of other bald eagles sitting around, and I just wanted to go up and take a picture. And then I noticed that they were letting me get real close to them, so all of a sudden I got within 30 feet of them, and then they flew, and I thought that was a little weird, so I looked around thinking there was an animal. Maybe they're feeding on an animal, and next thing I know, I see this wounded eagle. And I know it was a tidal area, so the water would come up and it would definitely drown. So I'd put the boat up on the beach and took my jacket off and chased it around for a while, and finally caught it in the jacket and covered its head over, and then put it in the boat and took it home and called the Owl Society.
Wow. Thanks to Tyler, we were able to catch the bird in time where we could pop its wing back into place. If it was another day or two, we probably never would have been able to do it.
Okay.
So one last goodbye for Rogerina. So on the count of 3, I'm going to throw her up in the air and release her. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and there she goes.
Hey, that was amazing. My heart is still beating, and it's just to see how large she was when her wings were spread out, and then just how easy she just flew off out across the field, and that was wild. When Rob just threw her off the balcony, she starts soaring. My blood pressure was soaring as well because I couldn't believe what I was watching and what I was able to bear witness to.
Now she'll probably go all the way to the backfield there and chill out and catch her breath. And hopefully from there, she'll go on to live a successful life. His emotions were gratification and excitement and basically everything rolled up into one.
I'm having trouble coming up with words. Tyler, I am so thankful and honored that I'm able to be here today, and you know, that just thank you so much. And
thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful.
All right.
We're really happy with Malcolm to be able to see this release, and he can take it back to share with his kids the knowledge and the excitement that he got to see here and share it with other people.
I think she's sitting in the field over there right now. Rob, giving her that opportunity to go back to being an eagle again is thank you. That's absolutely magic.
No problem.
I'm so privileged to witness this, and not many people get to witness this stuff. And thank you, everyone. That's just brilliant. I'm gonna remember this for a long time.
1, 2, 3.
Elementary school teacher Malcolm Crystal is on a high after witnessing an eagle being released back into the wild. But his guide, David Hancock, has one more surprise.
This whole week has been an emotional roller coaster. It's been up and then it's been down with the anticipation of what I might be doing with David. I feel like I've just sort of run a marathon. David, there's a whole bunch of squawking happening behind us. Tell me what's going on.
Well, this is the largest great blue heronry known. There was 470 pairs of great blue herons here, all feeding in this area. Right in the middle of this colony is a pair of bald eagles nesting. They're both competing for almost the same food.
Now, will the eagles eat the heron?
Eagles do eat herons. And the pair that lives in here, in the year they were studied by a master's student, they ate 34 chicks. But that's nothing out of the 1,500 that were raised here.
All the big heronries have an eagle's nest right in the middle of them. It's a safety to the colony, because little colonies get eaten out by eagles, many eagles. By having one pair in the middle, they keep the other invading eagles out because the eagles are defending their territory, and it defends the herons at the same time.
That's an ingenious plan. That's fantastic.
I've taken Malcolm to a whole bunch of different nest sites where you can only usually see 1 or 2 birds. Now, I'm hoping to take him to a place where he's going to see a really good bit of action. It's an intertidal zone where there's a lot of not just nesting, but other transient eagles all feeding at the same place.
Oh my God, there are eagles all over the place.
There's one.
Oh, wow. It's feeding time, and they're coming in like World War II planes.
Boom, boom, bang, there she goes.
And if one got a fish and trying to take it back to its nest, another one comes out and bang, is trying to get the fish. When there's so many eagles there, do they fight or play? When there's no need for the hunting, is it play?
There's a real competition, even though there's 10,000 carcasses. All 500 eagles that are right immediately, they all want the same carcass. They're not going to go after any of the other 10,000. Here comes another one right here. It's a free-for-all for all the eagles that are around.
Look at that, boom, boom, boom. Here coming in. Oh, wow. Oh, man.
It's always exciting watching these great birds with the intensity that they go after a dinner.
Yeah, I can tell, like, you've been watching this for
only 65 years.
only 65
still
years,
exciting.
and I can feel that excitement.
Yeah.
They just kept coming in and coming in. It was like just like a war scene. I couldn't believe it. It was so fantastic.
I enjoy seeing the wild, but I enjoy equally much seeing other people appreciate it.
Each day, I've thought, this is the best. It can't get any better. And then it gets better.
This was awesome. To see him go through all the different events in this week, and now to bring him out here, to see his eyes light up, that was wonderful for me.
I feel that this week has really changed my life. The events that I got to experience have been branded on my memory. It started with the tree. I've never seen such a magnificent tree. It left such a mark on me. That idea of the spirits inside the tree, the elders in the tree, well, they're giving strength to Birdie as he grows. The release of Rogerina, when Rob just threw her off the balcony, is like something I cannot imagine seeing again, and I probably will never have the chance. The emotional highlight of this whole week, bar none, was when I got to see those eagles swoop down on their prey with precision, and they just reach out with their talons and grab the food and take off. And David, just thrilling to see in him that excitement after 60 years of doing this.
This has been a marvelous week with Malcolm. It is exciting to see somebody else captured by the spirit of the wilderness and of majestic creatures like eagles.
After a week of absorbing all this knowledge and of watching and learning, I get to go back to school and I get to share what I've learned. I'm back after a week with David, and I have learned so much. Remember last week we had all those questions? I have some of the answers. I can't wait to share with them everything about eagles and get them excited and to turn them on to the idea that they too can make a difference. The more you learn about wildlife, the more things you can do with that knowledge to help others and to help where we live and help our nature. And that's what it's all about. So we have to think about our actions, and we have to think about everything we do, not just for eagles, for all the plants and animals, because we're all connected. We all have that connection.
Nice.
Bingo, we're keeping our world nice. That's what we need to do.
I'm pretty confident that this week may have enabled him to carry that excitement forward to the next generation.
Be your best eagle for me. I want you to close your eyes, and then I want you to spread your wings out as far as you can possibly be. Stretch your wings and pretend that you're flying and soaring. They're the next generation. They could be the last generation, and if we don't teach them now, we might not have all of this to look at anymore. Can't believe how big his feet are. I just want to say one more thing. Good luck, Birdie.